the Giants might have something cooking here. I know that they got on paper, and this is the same thing that happened in the Vikings game. We were in the Minnesota Vikings game. We were in that game for a very long period. It wasn't like we were losing by 18 the entire game. We were very close to making it a tie ball game if one or two plays go our way. Patriots game on a short week without Ingram, Barkley, Shep. We go in there and we stick it to the defending world champions for 3.5 quarters. We were tied or within a touchdown of the Patriots until 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter. I mean, if you had told me that on Wednesday or before the game started, I'd be like, again, you hate to say moral victory, but it's something to build on. It is somewhat reminiscent of the 2007 finale between the Giants and Patriots when we stuck it to them then. And we went punch for punch and we kept up and we almost beat them. And we didn't even have, and this, I mean, that's 2007 when I think we were like basically fully armed to the gills. We had our full arsenal. This one, our offense was like nothing. Jon Hilliman, dude, screen pass, fumbles the ball, touchdown, Patriots, puts the game pretty much out of reach. You're costing us games with these fumbles, dude. And that's why he was released, although I heard he was just signed back to the practice squad. So what do the Giants do? They cut Hilliman, and they signed Javorius Allen, a.k.a. Buck Allen, who used to be a running back for the Ravens. And the intel on him is, well, he's 6 foot 218, but he plays bigger than that. Those sizes indicate. He can be used as a fullback. 28 years old. He's in his 5th season, only 6 starts in 54 games, but he averages 4.4 yards per touch. And here's the kicker. Only 3 fumbles in 469 touches. That's 1 fumble per 156 touches, which he probably gets. I don't know. He'll go multiple games without fumbling the ball is what I'm saying. Not like Hilliman, who's fumbling the ball every game. Buck had two decent seasons with Baltimore. His career worst was last season, 2018, but he does have a nose for the end zone, having scored 10 touchdowns. So that could give you a nice little red zone option, even if Barkley comes back. And boy, do we miss Barkley. And he's practicing. He looks like he might return against Arizona. Ingram is practicing. He looks like he might return to against Arizona. Sterling Shepard, I think it's wise to just keep him out another week. Someone needs to do like a deep dive on that guy and just figure, like, let's really be as thorough as possible with Sterling. Like, let's not jeopardize his future just for a game against the Cardinals, especially when Golden Tate is now showing you something. I mean, Daniel Jones didn't have many options in that Pats game. And yes, it was the worst game of Danny's career. He looked bad. He waited too long to try and make a play, to wait for something to develop. And then when he threw the ball, he got his arm hit, interception. He throws a little bit behind in a windy environment. They mentioned it multiple times. It was very windy there. So he throws it kind of behind Golden Tate, and the wind takes it, gets tipped, interception. So those two, it's like, those seem like rookie-ish mistakes. Like it could have gone. If his arm isn't hit, it's not a pick probably. If it's not windy, does the ball not go behind Tate and does it not get tipped? And, so those are kind of just freakish interceptions that you can't hold against them. The last interception, though, you're driving into Patriots territory. You have Elijah Penny do just to basically run 5 yards and stop in front of you, wide open. And you decide to force it on the right to Rhett Ellison against, I guess, Stephon Gilmore. And that's a pick. And that ruins a drive that had potential for points. So on the upside, the offense kind of stunk. Despite, Golden Tate looked good for the most part. Hell of a play on that, the deep throw and the touchdown, and was able to get open here and there. So going forward, it looks like he could be filling nicely for Shep. But the big story here is the defense. And yeah, you look at the final score, 35-14. You're like, oh, Giants got blown out again. It's like, you didn't watch, because the defense kept us in the game. The strip sack from Lorenzo Carter and the return by Marcus Golden, one of the greatest fumble returns by an outside linebacker I've ever seen in my life. The sheer determination and fortitude on that return. the ability to just stay upright and to reach for the goal line, stretch for the goal line and score, he's been huge. And I think he's going to be a free agent either next year or the year after. They just sign him. I think he's shown you enough this year that it's like you're willing to risk it. We also re-signed Bennie Fowler and released Nate Stupar. I mean, yeah, we need depth, especially if Sterling Shepard is going to be out for a long time. I don't think Stupar really gave you anything on defense per se, maybe special teams, but David Mayo has done an outstanding job. And I know I was a little bit critical of Mayo last week, but overall, bird's eye view, you look at his how he's performed filling in, and he's done a great job. I don't think you can ask for too much more, considering the guy wasn't on your roster in training camp. He was cut by the 49ers and was a backup in Carolina, and then you insert him into the lineup as a starter, and he's giving you, I want to say, 8th best grade among inside linebackers. I could be pulling that out of my ass, but the truth is the takeaway here is he's giving you more than what you expected, and he's performing a hell of a lot better than Nate Stupar. So I can imagine a scenario where, he gives you great depth. Either way you slice it, any way you slice it. I mean, you have Ogletree is going to be a starter, and Ryan Connolly should be your other starter. But the ability to cycle in Mayo is a nice little insurance policy, especially if Connolly is going to be a Sean Lee who's like constantly getting hurt. Hopefully that's not the case. And I cannot believe I have not heard more about this. It makes me think that there's something more to the story, but it's not Deone Bucannon. Deone Bucannon, released by the Buccaneers after only playing 7 snaps and through 6 weeks. He's only 27. He's 6 foot, 211, kind of a linebacker, strong safety hybrid, a la Tay Davis. Giants are one of 4 teams interested in signing him, and he played for Betcher in Arizona for a few years and averaged like 80 plus tackles before a drop off season last season. So curious as to why they haven't signed him yet. Makes me think there's like character issues or something else going on there that might get revealed later. But if there isn't, I mean, you got to give him a good hard look and maybe sign him. There was another linebacker who just got released, Zach Brown, by the Eagles. He made those comments about Kirk Cousins, which, Giants fans, I know we've had a pretty shitty, weird season this year. Got off to a rough start and then kind of come up and we were feeling good about ourselves. And then the past 2 weeks, we've been kind of moral victories, I guess. We're 2-4, but we're 1 game out. The Cowboys looked like trash against the Jets, the winless Jets. And maybe, the Jets aren't who we thought they were, with Sam Darnold back and Le'Veon Bell in the backfield and Robbie Anderson going deep. And it's like, maybe they have the pieces on offense and maybe the defense is gelling. So the Jets could be a team to watch out for. I cannot believe I'm saying that after the kind of the stuff that they've rolled out into the field, but they didn't have their starting quarterback or their backup. Cowboys got a rude awakening. They're now 3-3, losers of 3 straight. And now I think they got to face the Philly on Sunday night, which that should be a fun game to watch. I'm almost more excited about the Eagles-Cowboys game than I am the Giants-Cardinals game. And the Eagles are 3-3 after getting smoked by the Vikings. And they did get smoked. I mean, yeah, they came into did they come within a touchdown? Maybe 10 points. But, and I know we got gashed and Kirk Cousins diced us up. But not like he did to the Eagles, dude. I mean, he was dropping bombs left and right. So, but Zach Brown, the Eagles linebacker who used to play with Cousins in Washington, said that Cousins would be the reason why the Vikings won't win. And of course, Cousins had a stellar game. So maybe that's why they released Brown, another linebacker to maybe take a look at. But the Vikings, I watched Barstool Sports Advisors with Big Cat, El Prez, and Stu Feiner. And Stu Feiner saying, take it for what it's worth from a raving lunatic. But Stu Feiner says the Vikings are a Super Bowl team. If they can just figure out the NFC North, they have a good chance of, definitely making the postseason. And if Cousins turns the corner, and this is the Cousins we can expect, could be. I mean, we forget the Vikings went to the friggin' NFC Championship with Case Keenum. Isn't Kirk Cousins a little bit better than Case Keenum? Especially now that Dalvin Cook is at 100% and running the ball like a goddamn animal. So I think we're in an okay spot. I think we get all our offensive weapons back. They stay healthy. Our defense looks like they're finally putting some stuff together. I mean, they only gave up 21 points last night. And if you really feeling generous. They only really gave up 14 points last against the Patriots in week 6. That last touchdown, I mean, like, that's like them being like, come on, offense. You know, we've been on the field forever tonight. I think the Patriots had like 40 minutes in time of possession, which is like crazy. And I think the same thing happened maybe last week where it's like they're just on the field too much. You know, it's one of those things like if you put them out there for the average amount of snaps or average amount of time of possession, the Giants defense is going to do their part, but you exceed it and you go beyond your bandwidth or whatever. And yeah, they're going to cave. They're going to crumble. So what was it? A fumble return for a touchdown, a block punt for a touchdown, which Nate Stupar, you know, why are you in the fucking punter's cleat, dude? Do not be that far back. So that's 14 points. And then, you know, the last touchdown was kind of just like, well, our offense isn't doing shit. We give up. But, you know, the defense is they give up a lot of yards, but they hold teams to field goals, or they stop them on goal line stands, or they get turnovers on downs. You know, a lot of opposing coaches think they can go for it and win, and they're not winning most of those battles. Yeah, we give up a lot of yards. We get gashed a lot. Definitely need to cut down on that. But I think the more playing time David Mayo gets, the better he's going to become. He's already looking pretty good. Alec Ogletree, he stays healthy. He's playing probably the best football he's played, at least in a Giants uniform. Your outside linebackers, Marcus Golden, he's averaging a sack per game. Dexter Lawrence is a beast. You have some players on the defensive side of the ball. You just need your coverage to step up. So, and here's an encouraging sign about where they could get help. Sam Beal can return to practice now. He was placed on IR at the beginning of the season, which means he was not allowed to practice for the first 6 weeks of the season, which that's done and gone. So he can practice now, and then he cannot play in a game until week 9. So if he looks healthy and doesn't get hurt again in practice, week 9. We got Sam Beal back, the legend of Sam Beal, the guy that everyone's been talking about. They're so excited and psyched out of their minds about this guy that we picked up in the supplemental draft, who could be a steal, a gem, a diamond in the rough, that we had to sacrifice a 2019 pick for, I think 3rd round pick for. So there's a lot of expectations for Sam Beal. He hasn't seen a damn snap in any meaningful game, preseason or for regular season, whatever, in pads. But this could be the guy that helps us out in terms of coverage, because I know Grant Haley has struggled. Jenkins has struggled to a certain degree. Baker has struggled. So he can provide you that much needed depth, either in the slot, or if we end up trading Jenkins, he could start opposite Baker. The issue is with Beal, that each NFL team is permitted to activate only 2 players after 8 weeks on the injured reserve. And right now our options are Kareem Martin and Russell Shepard. It's like Russell Shepard can have a big catch here or there. Kareem Martin was supposed to be this huge free agent acquisition that was supposed to help out with that transition. And he's been kind of just a major disappointment. So out of the 3, it's like, you've seen what you can get from Shepard. You've seen what you can get with Kareem. You haven't seen what you can get from Sam Beal. So I'm more inclined to like activate Sam Beal and Russell Shepard, because your outside linebacker crew seems pretty set with Marcus Golden, Lorenzo Carter, and O'Shane Ximines. OBJ is frustrated with not getting the ball in Cleveland. Now, I think this was before their game with Seattle, because he had something like, I don't know, 9 targets and 6 catches, or was it 9 catches on like 12 targets? So they definitely threw him the ball more against Seattle, and he had 100 plus yards receiving. Although that one catch that everyone was like creaming their jeans over, where it's kind of deep on the right sideline, might have been out or a corner pattern. That's not a catch. I don't know how that's a catch. He went up, he got 1 foot down, and his helmet landed out of bounds. Incomplete. I mean, good job, great effort, but that's not a catch. But yeah, I mean, what are you going to do? And now there are rumors swirling around that their GM Dorsey is going to trade him. And Dorsey said that's fake news, but it's like, you kind of see what you're dealing with here. Try to get the ball to OBJ. You force the ball to OBJ. You ignore some other patterns or open receivers, or you try to spread the wealth. And then he's saying he's not getting the ball enough. So tough tough out there in Cleveland. Oh boy. But the trade deadline is October 29th. It's the end of October. And the Giants have some pieces that they could deal, and maybe they should deal. I know the Cardinals, our week 7 opponent, are listening to trade calls for Patrick Peterson. That's a guy who I would love to trade for. I mean, I probably won't happen. I think Arizona said they're not going to trade him, but he hadn't missed a game since 2011. Hasn't missed a game, hasn't missed a start his entire career until this year when he was suspended first 6 games for PEDs. And of course, he makes his return against us. Awesome. But he's made the Pro Bowl every season of his career, 3-time All-Pro, 29 years old. He requested a trade back in October of last year, and he's got 1 more year left on his contract with a cap hit of around $13 million, but a dead cap of less than $700. Janoris Jenkins is making more than Patrick Peterson. I mean, that's enough for me. You look up Patrick Peterson on Pro Football Reference, and then you look up Janoris Jenkins on Pro Football Reference, and you're like, what the actual fuck is going on? How the hell is Janoris Jenkins making more than Patrick Peterson? If we can get Patrick Peterson, I don't know who the hell we trade to get him, but we should, because that would be huge. Matt Lombardo of NJ.com thinks that Janoris Jenkins could go to the Kansas City Chiefs. And the Chiefs were looking at Jalen Ramsey for a while, but if that falls through, I think Jenkins could be a nice fit for them. Jenkins is allowing 15.4 yards per reception. And according to Pro Football Focus, opposing quarterbacks have a 99.5 passer rating when targeting him. I mean, it's got to be Betcher's system, right? It has to be Betcher's system. That's the only thing I can think of. And he's just not a fit. I think it's time to move on, even though he's provided some electric plays during his Giants career. You'd have to say that he's definitely disappointed you. I mean, he had the pick against New England, but that's an errant throw affected by the wind. That's an easy interception for any cornerback. So I don't know that that's like, we're going to give him a round of a standing ovation for that interception. And then he allowed that huge pass to Edelman. Edelman made an amazing diving catch, but at the same time, it seems like that's happening to Janoris every week, just allowing big play after big play. This is a crazy one. Golden Tate to the 49ers. Oh. So, we didn't sign him to trade him. This is like the ultimate definition of that. I mean, we've only seen Golden in 2 games, and now we're willing to trade him. But apparently the receiving core for the 49ers has combined for just 36 catches and 481 yards and 3 touchdowns, which is not great through 6 weeks. And Lombardo saying that Tate could walk into San Fran and be the number 3 receiver behind Marquise Goodwin and rookie Deebo Samuel. I mean, Tate's not even the 3 on the Giants. I don't know about that, but something to look out for. I just can't see us, especially knowing Sterling Shepard's fragile nature at this point. I just can't see us giving up on Golden Tate that quickly. He claims the team knew about his PEDs when they signed him. If they trade him after 2 or 3 weeks, after, essentially maybe less than a month, 3-4 games, then that's they must have been super pissed about the PED thing. If he plays like he played against New England and we get Shepard back, then we've got ourselves a nice little operation. Crazy that maybe it was just that 1 week of rust that he needed to knock off and get that in-game action to kind of just clear the cobwebs, and now he can get back up to speed. The number 30 trade candidate, Rhett Ellison to the Patriots. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind it. Blocking tight end. I can't believe that the Giants would spend that much on a blocking tight end. It's tough because blocking tight ends don't get a lot of the glory. I'd like to think that he's contributed to a lot of big runs, and that, we'll definitely need to fill a void should he be gone, but making a lot of money for a blocking tight end who doesn't make a lot of grabs or catches. I think last week was one of his best games. He had 3 catches for 30 yards or something like that. In terms of players that maybe we should trade for that could be candidates, I mean, there's Trumaine Johnson, corner for the Jets. He's been pretty average. Deal runs to 2022. Patrick Peterson, who I mentioned, would be huge if we could trade for him. Mohamed Sanu, who I've always thought should be a Giant just because I think he's from New Jersey and he went to Rutgers. It's how are you not in a Giants uniform? Every time he became a free agent or was available, I thought they should have gone out and signed him because it just seems like a dependable receiver that it just will catch the ball if you put it in the vicinity. Falcons have Ridley and Jones, so we're kind of light in the receiver position as it is. I say give him a shot. Another Falcon, Desmond Trufant, is having a bit of a down year after back-to-back solid campaigns, but still a viable asset. No guarantees after 29. He's making around 6 or 7 million. William Jackson, Bengals corner. He's every down back on his rookie contract. Salary spikes to $10 million in a 5th-year option, though. Emmanuel Sanders, Broncos wide receiver. He just had a knee injury, though. Chris Harris, corner for Denver. Denver's kind of turning it around, so I don't know that Denver's going to be in full sell mode, though. I mean, huge win against the Titans, shut out the Titans, big win against the Chargers. So I think even after their slow start, there might be a force to be reckoned with. Trent Williams is interesting, tackle for the Redskins. He puts up pretty similar numbers to Nate Solder, but yet is making like way less, making $7 million. And he's currently in a holdout. He's been a Pro Bowler the last 7 seasons and is 31 years old. So it might be something to consider if you don't want to continue investing in Remmers, but would Trent Williams play right tackle? Or would you move Nate Solder to the right tackle and have Trent Williams at left tackle? Something to stew on, something to put in the old bean and marinate. Devante Parker, wide receiver for the Dolphins, making around $2.6 million. Yeah, doesn't sound great. So yeah, I mean, those are the candidates. Obviously, wide receiver is a consideration. Linebacker is a consideration. Possibly O-line, but definitely a corner. You know, if they do decide to trade Alec Ogletree and Janoris Jenkins, you know, you got to look to fill that spot because we're not exactly deep in those positions. So I'd say Jenkins goes before Ogletree goes. Of the Giants that are going to be free agents in 2020, Marcus Golden, I think you definitely re-sign him. Mike Remmers, he's given you enough. I think he's given you enough to justify another year or two. Michael Thomas, definitely re-sign. Russell Shepard, I don't know. I would say, gun to my head, pass. Cody Latimer, pass. I mean, Cody Latimer, dude. 0 catches. 0 catches. You cannot do that. I mean, and maybe that's Daniel Jones' fault. Maybe 100% of the blame doesn't go on Cody Latimer. Maybe some of the blame goes on Shermer for not calling plays to Cody Latimer. How do you not? I mean, 1 target, I think he had. I think he had 1 target. Crazy. You signed this guy. He's earning $1.5 million, 28 years old, and you just didn't use him at all. That can't be a good sign. That cannot be a good sign. I mean, we didn't have anyone. We had Golden Tate, Darius Slayton, Rhett Ellison are your other targets in terms of receivers. And you got 1 target and you got 0 catches. That could be the final nail in the coffin for Cody Latimer. And I know the Patriots are like the best defense in the league, but if Cody Latimer comes out against the Cardinals and still gets 0 catches, I mean, later, dude. Later. You can't have that. And I know, and he is a great blocker. So I give him that, but like we need someone who can catch the ball or we can throw to. I saw some kind of stat that was like the yards of separation, average yards of separation that the Giants receivers got on Thursday night against the Patriots was like the smallest in history or something like that. It was like 1 to 1.5 yards of separation on average for Giants wide receivers against the Patriots. So, you know, Danny didn't have a lot to work with to start out with. His receivers are not getting open. You know, people criticize Daniel for throwing the ball into tight windows. That's also why we loved him. And that's why we like him and why he's playing and Eli's not, because Eli would not refuse to make those throws. So sometimes those throws are completed. Sometimes they're incomplete and sometimes they're intercepted. But you're giving your receiver a chance, and I think that's the difference, and that's not something that we should poo-poo. David Mayo will be a free agent next year, and I think we got to re-sign him. He's only 27. He's provided some stability to the inside linebacker position. Corey Coleman is going to be a tough decision. He's 26. He's making around $720,000. I think reporters have said that he has an incredible outlook. He's taking rehab very seriously, and that he's going to come back with a full force, and he's going to try and make it. So I say you give him that one last shot contract and say, prove it. John Halapio, I think you definitely re-sign him. He's 29. Rosas is 25. Yes. Elijah Penny. Yes. He's only 27. Riley Dixon is only 27. Yes. Eli, of course, is going to be a free agent. And, don't think he's going back. 2021 free agents: Janoris Jenkins, Rhett Ellison, Kareem Martin, Antoine Bethea, Dalvin Tomlinson. I'd say the only one that you re-sign is Dalvin Tomlinson. Unless Martin comes back and is like on another planet, on another level, and just is like playing out of his mind, great. But as of right now, no. I mean, we signed him to a 3-year, $50 million contract, and he hasn't done dick. Antoine Bethea. I mean, that I always viewed Antoine Bethea as a stopgap until they find their, safety of the future to pair up with Jabril Peppers. And so far, I don't think the reviews on Bethea have been that great, but he has a nice little insurance policy, I think. And that's that. I mean, in terms of the Week 7 game against the Cardinals, as I said, Patrick Peterson's coming back. So he's going to present a challenge. He's going to automatically improve that defense. The defense is pretty garbage. I think they're like a bottom 5 defense all around. So if we do get Barkley and Ingram and Shep back, we should be able to put up some points and some yards. Our defense, I think, looked really good against New England. I know New England had some injuries up front. They had Marshall Newhouse playing left tackle and starting left tackle. So you almost think, well, maybe we should have done a little more damage, but the defense is showing signs. I know they're giving up a ton of yards. I get it, but they're not giving up a ton of points per se, and they're limiting the damage. So I think that they can come out against the Cardinals and present some interesting looks to Kyler Murray. They have got to have Ogletree, spy, or maybe Michael Thomas, someone. They need to put a spy on Kyler Murray so when he starts moving around, he doesn't pick up big chunks of yards on the ground. I think we're in a good spot. We're okay. It's not panic mode. I know moral victories don't count, but you have to feel much better about your prospects now that you're getting more of your offensive weapons back. The defense looks like they're coming together, and maybe we can Cardinals, Lions, Jets. I don't know. I mean, before the season started, I think we were thinking, win against the Cardinals, loss to the Lions, maybe a win against the Cowboys, win against the Jets. We're looking at like maybe 3-1. And, I thought that we could still go 3-1 after the Patriots game. I don't know what we're getting with the Jets anymore. I don't know what to expect with the Jets. So that's going to be a battle. Going into Detroit, Detroit stuck it to Green Bay in Green Bay. Probably should have won that game if it weren't for the referees. So we could very easily go 1-3. We could go 0-4. Each week is going to be a fucking battle. And if we come out of this 4-0 into the bye, 6-4 in the bye would be huge. If we go 5-5 at the bye, if we go 4-6, I don't know. I think you might have to pack up shop and start dealing some players. Very interesting stretch before the trade deadline. 2 weeks to the trade deadline. If you win against Arizona and Detroit, do you reconsider dealing Ogletree and Jenkins, or at least Jenkins? I think you should deal Jenkins regardless and start playing Julian Love and Corey Ballantyne. Let's start getting this talent out on the field and see what you got.